We switch pod. The
Yes,
boys are back.
sir.
Back to
Oh,
give you those rugby opinions. How are you, Chris?
oh, Kudos. I'm feeling good, man. Excited. The box squad being announced. Aye, man, it's that time. It's that time. So I'm good.
Yeah,
How are
it's
you
our
doing,
it's
man?
our favorite time of the year. I'm good
Uh-huh.
myself. I'm good myself. Lots of excitement. The Dan Carters of
Yeah.
podcasting here to give you our
Yeah.
rugby opinions, our hot takes, and dive deeper into this weekend's fixtures. You can catch us here.
Mm.
You can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and yeah, interact. Some comments. If you disagree, if you agree, let us know. Especially around Bok training camp, first game in under 2 weeks. So it was
Mm.
expected. It was released in the silence of the night. I think it was close to 12 o'clock. They put it out after the Stormers loss. They could effectively count those players in, and after the Bulls win, they could
Mm.
count those players out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe that's exactly what happened. I think there were guys that were probably in who, it was a 50-50 either way. They were
Yeah.
ready for anything. But that
Yeah, no,
announcement
there's
is,
make no mistake, there were many squads. There was a
yeah,
squad if the Stormers won, there's a squad if the Stormers
yeah,
lose, there's a squad if the Bulls lose.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. But that announcement was akin to, it was a flashback to some cabinet reshuffles. You'd wake up in the morning and hey, there's new people in charge. But this time around, I think, look, it's exciting times for Springbok rugby, South Africa as a whole. I think,
Yeah.
geez, man, you got to be pumped up for the type of squad that they've put together for next week against it's Wales, yeah, against
Yeah,
Wales. So
let's actually look at the squad. Firstly, the main thing is the uncapped players. You've got Hendricks are there, Huan Horn,
yeah,
Edwin van der Merwe, Faf Light,
mhm,
Pepsi, Masuku, Ethan
yeah.
Hooker, Ben Jason Dixon, Sasha, Fushia, and the son-in-law, Hugo Fenter. And then shame. He's gonna get it. I've seen the headlines, but I mean he should be there. He should be
You
there.
should
But
be.
anyway,
You should be
Umete as well added to the squad, even though the Bulls have a semi-final, which is
strange
very
one, that.
strange. It means that he's not going to be involved in the semi-final, but he's seen as good enough to play for the Boks. And I won't lie, having watched
Yeah,
the Bulls game, I thought they could get
yeah.
some purchase from him, but JC's otherwise. Injuries, you've got Arnsah out, Moody out, Willems out, Colby out, and I'm out. And
Yeah.
that's forwards. I'm not too sure. I think it's Kitsoff and maybe someone else,
Louis
but
Diaka, I think, is out in the
yeah,
forwards as well.
yeah. So it's mainly backline decisions. And if we're gonna talk snubs, the most obvious name that's been left out is Nohamba. Even though Stormers
Yeah.
fans will try and say, no, Ruben van Heerden as well. No, Nohamba is
Yeah.
the most obvious exclusion there.
Yeah.
Yes, Ruben van Heerden is an exclusion, but not on the same level as what Nohamba is, I would say.
Yeah. Look, maybe he'll come in later. Maybe he's still recovering
Yeah.
from his injury, you know. But yeah, that's a notable absentee out of that squad. Especially when you look at the youngsters that are getting the opportunities, and considering that at
Yeah.
one stage he was knocking on the door as well. So yeah, look, it is what it is for now. We know it's not final. It's Wales, then it's Ireland, and there's still Portugal before rugby championship. So and with that, I think there's also going to be a sort of a bigger squad. So there's
Yeah.
still plenty of opportunity for a lot of the guys. I think the coaches have also echoed the same. The doors are not closed for everyone, but for the guys that are in there now, for the coming week, next week, I'm already in test week. I'm ready for Wales. I want to see these guys play. But for the coming week, I think it's, geez, the guys, the new uncapped guys. It's exciting. Look, it's exciting to see the talent that we have in South Africa. We saw it in URC, and now that it's coming through, you all of a sudden you're looking, okay, there's some serious depth here. But
Yeah.
now we just hope that they can. Obviously, the coaches think that they can they Bok level. They just now need to put it out there. That's really what I'm hoping for.
First question: are they
Yeah.
Bok level? Looking at those guys, are there guys there that you feel shouldn't be there? Are there guys there that who do you feel should have been there? Is this, if I had sat down with you and said pre this announcement who should be there, who shouldn't be there, did they get it right in your opinion?
Yeah, look, you can't.
Hey, that wasn't convincing. That wasn't
Look, I mean, yeah, look. I'll just say it's a balanced box squad, in terms of the bigger group. There's experienced guys, So, and then you uncapped guys, it isn't a guarantee. I think there's still some more inspection going on, Yes, some you can see, for the future, definitely, maybe they can be, be groomed. But it's very difficult to say right now I have a problem with these guys, because I think each of the guys that were picked within their right, they showed the potential to be at Bok level. So for now, I'll reserve my comments until the pudding is served. I think I'll do that. And I'm not sitting on the fence, because it's opportunity for these guys. They've worked hard for it, so I don't want to say, no, this one shouldn't be there. At the moment, I'm okay with the squad. I'm okay with the squad. Once we start talking match 23s and things like that, I think then maybe
that's my next question.
Although one that I am surprised still to see within the mix, right? But I would say maybe it's because maybe other guys are not available from the Bulls, is Joseph Dweba, to be honest with you, because he's been in that setup and he hasn't given me consistently that he's a Bok. You know what I mean? So yes, then surprising as well omission, maybe I'd say, from the Stormers, Dan du Plessis, he was consistent there, tall for them, and he was showing some things, So him not getting a look in, you can. There's a case for him, maybe. Hudson-Berg from the Stormers there as well. I thought maybe just from the way he plays.
Edwell, I'm sorry, Edwell is better than Hudson-Berg.
Look,
the thing is, and you can say no, Hudson-Berg's young and he plays for the Stormers, everyone supports the Stormers. No, Edwell van der Merwe is better than Hudson-Berg. And we must stop this thing of also saying no, he's got the potential. He's got right now today. Edwell van der Merwe is a better rugby player.
Right now he is the better player, definitely. Van der Merwe has been more consistent. He's more a bigger impact. So I'll say for now, I'm okay with the squad. Match 23, we'll see. That's when we can fight.
Even I'll say the same thing in terms of the uncapped guys. I think they got it right, except for Nohamba, Ruben van Heerden as well. Like I did say, it's not a bigger miss as Nohamba, but again, he's the guy that could have made it. I think. In a time normally Springbok squads, there's like 5 players where you're like, this guy should have been there, this guy should have been there. So to only have 2, it's a bit of a change from that. In terms of the wider squad, again, I don't really have any problems. Dweba, I'll give him a go again. Hugo Venter, I think as much as people talk about Dweba's lineouts, I think he's been suspect at lineouts at times. So
yes,
I can't even say leave Dweba out for him, because both of them haven't been performing their best there. Mkhunu, scrum time, he was struggling in recent years, but he has stepped it up. So I suppose they're also rewarding, his improvement there. But in terms of the main squad, in terms of the match day squad, I would go Sharks front row. Just try and get the most experienced guys in there. I know Marx is in there, but Marx hasn't played since group stages of the World Cup. Faf also hasn't played since January. That's another thing that you've got to look at, is that Faf hasn't played since January. They're gonna be throwing these guys in at the highest level of rugby, test match rugby. So I'm just keeping an eye on how they'll manage those guys. But
Yeah.
I will say go that Sharks front row, go your most experienced players, the Quajas, those guys.
It's a bit,
Yeah.
maybe a few, maybe one or two unkept guys, this one guy
Where
maybe
you
was
have to,
starting.
but I
Yeah.
don't think it's not an experimental. We still want to win test matches.
Yes, definitely. But I think, look, with these guys, I won't lie. I think you could still see a test match winning team coming out
Yeah.
of just this group, you know. So yeah, no, I'm excited. Honestly, I'm really excited for next week. I can't wait for
Yeah.
next week. To see who they're picking. For that Wales game. But geez, guys, they deserve it, man. Pepsi's been consistent. When Jason Dixon has showed up, for
Yeah.
the Stormers. Even when you look at Murat, I think from a leadership point of view and how he's grown as a player as well, I'll give him that, because he's come from that sort of leadership capacity at junior Bok level. And I think they've always sort of wanted to groom him, to be an enforcer there in the pack. So yeah, I'm just glad that you've got the guys, Masugu there. I've got a good feeling about him getting that starting berth, possibly. And then yeah, just the guys like Ethan Hooker. I'm interested to see what they're thinking with Hendrickson. I think we spoke about it last week in terms of how he was, playing in the centers. I'd be interested to see how that develops and where they see him. Farflight getting his chance. It may be.
Yeah, Herschel is out, eh? Herschel.
Yeah, that's like stone cold out. Stone cold out. It looks like. So it's Sasha getting his chance as well. Ngomezulu getting his chance. I think that one is also like, for me, I won't lie. I didn't. Now that we're going through the list, I didn't last week. I didn't expect it. But I also not against it in terms of what he can bring as well. So I'm excited, man, in terms of the squad, and I'm glad for the guys. I'm glad, especially the number 10 of the Sharks. This is about to be history.
Yeah.
I must say this. When I don't think there's ever been, and I mean this with all the respect, there's ever been a Black African fly half wearing a number 10 jersey for the Springboks. I know it's not about that, but I'm just saying it's a step in the right direction, because we're going to see more Sia Masugu's youngsters that are, that want to be bending it like Masugu and, doing it like that. It's good for the game to see that, especially in those in key positions as well, where, hopefully we can see him have a bright future.
Yeah. Moving to other news, Stormers exits announced today. Paul de Vet on his way to the Bulls also came out earlier this week.
Yeah.
Baba and Pokumela also going to the Bulls.
Jeez.
Well, rumored. Daimani off to join Sia at Racing. A few names there. It's just, I suppose it's them there. We need to see who's coming in. Coming in there. But Paul de Vet, interesting. It was announced this week, but he wasn't on the official list of departures like Hendrickson, who wasn't on the list for the Lions. Although Hendrickson, he should be moving over in the new year. I think he's contractually there until the end of the year. Paul de Vet, maybe it's the same situation, or maybe talks haven't been concluded, but I fully expect him to head down to the Bulls.
Yeah. Look, I think the Stormers, and this is also going to sort of spill into this past weekend. I think, in for the most part, I think they also need to sort of try and refresh their squad, and there's a lot of guys Godlin Masimula. I saw that his name. I was like, oh, he's still there. Like, damn.
That
And
guy, he's known to get a contract. He stays with
I
a
know.
contract.
Yeah, I know he gets it.
Although it has been put
He
to my
gets it.
attention, it
He
has been
gets
put
it.
to my attention that it may be through the back door. It may be
He
through,
gets it.
it may be a bit of
I
nepotism there, but
no man.
he'll one thing, he'll get a contract.
I know, man. I was like, wow, okay. Man, he's been a mainstay. You thought by now, man, like, at least 100 caps. But, it's just, life in the squad. That's just that guy's he's gonna be doing the tell-alls. Life in the squad. Because he's seen all the Stormers score.
He's seen them. He's been there longer than the furniture. He's seen them come and go. He's seen URCs. He's seen Curry Cups. He's seen them all.
So like, yeah. So I think for them, it is. It's that time. They do need to refresh. I think some big losses. If Namaklaba, I think for him, I was liking what he was doing at the Stormers. And okay, yes, injury sort of hampered him a little bit. In recent times, but it's difficult to see who they're going to bring in as a ball player there for him in terms of his specific role. So yeah, I think
And
in that
I
regard,
don't need, like Willie Engelbrecht. He plays 6, but I don't really see him in that fetching role. I see him more as a 7, but I guess we'll see. They've said that Augustus might come back. That's been rumored. Noche, they've said he's not going back. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But then if Augustus goes back there, Russ is there. He's the top
they
dog
want
there,
Russ
number
to
8
play
because
6 now. Well, I think that's where he's moving to.
Maybe.
I think he's moving to. He's started playing 6 more often now, so I'm guessing that's what they'll try and do.
Maybe that's the role they want to put him in, and he can also be good on the ground, the breakdown. So, but but definitely for the Stormers, I think some good releases there. They got to bring in some fresh blood, and I think. Those are good releases. Let them go. Let them go. And they must just refresh themselves and try and try. I don't want
to kick them while they're down. Wait. When they get another team, they get another contract. Then I'll start to talk about how them being good releases. But yeah.
No, but they'll find work. Some of those guys, they still got value, but where we don't know. And all the best, for them. But I just think from a Stormers team perspective and where they want to get back to and where they want to go, I think they have to, and this past weekend showed us that there's a lot of things that were very disappointing about the Stormers this past weekend, so
but let's talk Bulls first. Bulls versus Benetton. It mirrored the first game largely in terms of that the Bulls, obviously their lead wasn't as much in this game and they didn't execute to the level that they did in the game before. But in the same way, they allowed Benetton to creep back in.
Yeah.
From kickoff, they score immediately. Vali spotting space. Their counter-attack, he's changed the way that they attack.
Brilliant.
Their scrum dominant. Their line out, they did try and disrupt the line out more than they did in the previous game, which they got a little bit of joy. But at the end of the day, set piece was still the Bulls' strong point.
Yeah.
But they just misfired at times. The execution wasn't as good as it should be. At 14-3, you felt like it could have been 21-3. You felt like they could have built more of a lead, but they just didn't. Hussein was over the line, and then they had one of those soft patches, and Benetton started to come back into the game.
Yeah, they allowed them to come back, and unfortunately, this is the new normal for the Bulls. In terms of how they've been playing, and how they've been surviving, to be honest. I sort of knew, well, I think we expected better, yes, but we sort of knew that the trend might continue with them, and
I didn't think so. I won't lie. I thought that they I thought that they would be just as clinical and
Yeah,
limit Benetton a little bit more. And it turns out they weren't as clinical as they were in the first game against them, and they
yeah,
let them play just as much. And the thing was, they were using their forwards, especially a number 8, to punch holes in the midfield. They've got excellent running lines and
yeah,
structures and ball playing. And what they try and do in that with that is to get the ball all the way to the wing to
yeah.
Retave, and he was punishing de Klerk. They
Mm.
targeted de Klerk, and he's having nightmares. He's having
Yeah.
nightmares of
Even
Retave.
now,
Yeah.
even now, if he steps into a phone booth, it's Rutavi in his mind,
Mm.
because he was just all over him. He couldn't handle him, and that for me is the concerning part, is that Bulls defense. How
Yeah.
they get exposed or exploited like that. It's if I mean, they're playing Leinster. I almost said we, but they playing Leinster. But we are. It's South Africa, so it's Leinster this weekend. Yeah, you understand. They're not gonna make those mistakes. I echo again the same thing that they said last week. You can't have those giveaways, those gimmies,
Yeah.
those free points, and allowing teams to come back, and then as well, it's compounded by the fact that you make these errors after getting on top of the scoring, and you just say, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
here's the ball back, and they can't continue like this. Good that they got the win, but I'm sorry, like if they think that they can, get into the final and beat Leinster this weekend, yes, it's at Loftus, but
Because the only difference between Leinster and Benetton for me is that they play the same type of rugby, in a sense of their patterns of play, moving the ball
mm,
around, getting the ball wide, trying to exploit you, and finding space wide. They just have better players, and they have
yeah,
guys that have. It's not just Retave for them. Leinster's got international. There's many guys in many
yes,
positions that are outstanding, not just this guy on the wing. So
yeah.
it's I'm expecting a similar challenge, but just turn the heat up, turn the volume up. That's exactly what
The,
Leinster are they're gonna play in the exact same way. It's just
yeah.
is gonna be more intense.
And also Leinster will be slightly better than Benetton at ball retention,
Yeah,
and recycling that ball. So that pressure is going to be immense for the Bulls to handle, and they have to figure out what they have to do, because attack is not a problem. They can attack, they can punish teams, especially look. I must say this though, or the most lethal weapon, I think, right now, in rugby when it comes to finishing. Quickly, Arendse is super deadly, and you saw that, when once he was off, there was a big difference in
yeah.
their punch, in their attack, and the effectiveness of their attack. So, but either way, I think they still got guys that can come in, and
It's a big
fill in
ask.
that.
No Aronsa, no Moody, no Eskom,
Mm,
no Kutsia, no Hans. Well, that was just this game. But I mean,
yeah,
obviously, we're gonna see who's
there'll be
available,
guys
who's not
back maybe.
available. But
Yeah,
maybe
but
there'll be guys. My main issue of concern as well were the set piece is where you score tries. A lot of these tries were scored maybe 3-4 phases after a line out,
mm,
3-4 phases after
yeah.
a scrum. Then you've got Villy playing quick lineouts and avoiding the set piece. And that's where
Mm,
Benetton scored. So there's
yeah,
also tactical awareness, and maybe he
yeah.
was naive at that point, but it's like you've got to rely on your strengths. I know
Mm, mm.
you're thinking opportunities, you think, but you this is where you're punishing them.
Yeah, so you're killing them. They gotta try and let that slow poison kick in.
Yeah,
And sometimes look, because you saw a bit of that pragmatic approach from the Bulls, where they went for points. Acknowledging that it's a knockout game, and that, but you have to cut out those mistakes, and you have
yeah,
to fix your defense. At the end of the day, that's what it is, and switch on for the whole 80.
yeah.
Because otherwise. Otherwise, you're staying home this after this weekend. That's the reality. You're staying home, and some will go to the Bok camp, and others, they'll get a break, a good preseason if they don't fix that. That's what it is. And it's difficult to see that quick turnaround. Unless Leinster just going to come in and they cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, they really have to. And look, credit to them if they can do it. We back them. We hope, we want them to do it. We want them to win it. But they have to fix, man. They must fix it.
Yeah. Let's go Glasgow hosting Stormers, and I have to say, game of missed chances. And I let me just tell you something. They lost me a lot of money in this game. They lost me a lot because even at halftime, I saw the odds before the game, and the bookmakers fully expected the Stormers to lose. But at halftime, they were down by 6. I said, let me go check again. The odds are even better. I was like, okay, no. I believe.
I'm in now.
7 points, I believe.
Yeah.
When Murat got the yellow card and they even scored, I even put more. I was like, I still believe one score with 70 minutes, it was 13-10.
Yeah.
That's one score. 10 minutes for the rest. If you say to Dobbo, 10 minutes, your team just has one score at the beginning of the season, I'm sure he would have also just taken it. Said, we'll take that chance.
Yeah.
It was there. Yeah. It was there for the taking. Sadly, they didn't take it due to many things. Lebok missing kicks was also one of those things.
Look, many things. I agree with you. So many missed opportunities, and I think they took so long to get into the game. It's like they were shocked to see themselves, because Glasgow have a similar approach to them, and they didn't know how to handle that, and then compounded by the fact that if you're looking at it, it's 10 points, if I've got the calculation right, missed off the boot, where that suggests that, again, the Stormers were in the position to win this game and should have won this game. If there was one game where, I know there was, against Clermont, where they lost by 1 point on the reverse, where they could have won it and things like that. But this one, I think this one will hurt the most for them, particularly because for the most part, Glasgow were the ones putting on the pressure, and the Stormers were handling, they were absorbing, they were staying in it, and they were in it. And then they just, things didn't go their way, and this must be said that this first decision that should have been a yellow card,
he clotheslined Gelant in the air. That should have been a yellow card.
That's absolutely outrageous. It definitely, I think, did have an impact on the game, as much as Murat got his yellow card, but that was definitely, for me, foul play. That changes the pressure point, on Glasgow. And it was at the time where Stormers were looking to, get into their groove, So I still say it's a tough one for the Stormers. It's really
another reffing decision. I have to say is at that moment where they've got 10 minutes left, is that scrum penalty goes against them.
Yeah.
Which I believe fully should have been a reset. I like the scrums were a lottery in this game, and unfortunately they fell on the wrong side of that more often than once. And I just feel like that it should have been a reset. I didn't see any dominance from that side. And there's times where they did get scrum penalties, which I just didn't feel like should have gone against them. Besides that, you have to blame yourself in terms of, in the 22, they had about 3 decent really chances. And I'm talking about in the 22, I'm talking about 5 meters out. And players crossing over each other. Went for a kick one time. There was just wasteful decisions where I understand you're a playmaker, you're trying to, do something, but why not even milk the penalty through the forwards? You know, you've got to
Yeah,
be, you've got to think. And the thing was, it was also raining as well, which also killed a bit of the spark that they play with. So
yeah.
it's
And
just missed
but
opportunities.
yeah, the opportunities missed because I think the pack were fronting up, you know, their carries, their work rate as well.
Yeah,
You know, even guys like Daimani, you saw his work on the ground, you know, he sort of filled that void where, you know, he got them out of jail, you know, a couple of times where he was doing good work. You know, you really thought, okay, these guys, they on, you know, they really switched on. He
yeah,
was playing through, especially when they started carrying, being more direct, you know, it was there for them, you know. But I'll also say this, I'll also, whoever who makes the decisions on who's the goal kicker, whether it's the head coach or the kicking coach, they must also shoulder a bit of the blame, because, you know, after the first two kicks, you know, the first kick I was like, okay, second kick, then I was like, maybe, you know, you've got Sasha in there, you can kick distance good, more accurate, you know, why not, you know, give him a look in, and even him just coming up to say, hey, maybe I can, you know.
apparently at the time, you know, he was supposed to take the kicking duties at the time where they scored, but he
Yeah,
got subbed for cramp. So unfortunately, but I
yeah,
mean, and then we
but
talk about that restart where essentially you get the lead and then you
hand
miss
it
two
back.
below to 4 or 5 defenders beaten. It's essentially, there's points where they in this where they lost. That was one of the major points where they
Yeah,
lost this game.
where they lost the game, and that just kept the home crowd in the game, kept Glasgow, you know, saying, "No, we
Yeah,
got these guys." And man, that's why I say this one must hurt the most for the Stormers, because especially considering the recent little rendezvous overseas, you know, where they got, you know, 2 out of 2 came back home, you know, where's all of that experience? You know, where's all of that? So it really does beg the question, you know, and dare I say, you know, um, it's just unfortunate that Liverpool chooses the wrong time to prove some people right, you know.
yeah,
Um, I don't, that's just the most irritating part of it, you know.
yeah.
And look, he's still a quality player. He is, you know, and Pollard has had his moments as well, you know. So look, I won't be too critical of him in that regard. However, I expect better, you know, considering from where you come from and you know
Yeah,
what's being said, you know,
yeah.
just do better, man. You know, do better. When we know you're trying, but man, we can't, we gotta keep them quiet. You know, we gotta shut them up.
They should
And the
have
only
also,
way,
they should have got Carl's son out of there. You saw that kick for the last try. He's one of
yeah,
those that should
like,
have left. Carl's son. We tired of him. There's other guys there that maybe should be released, I think.
you
But yeah,
know, so it's missed opportunities, lost chances for the Stormers, you know, but you know, they'll write it off. Good releases. They need new incomings, and let's see what they can bring, you know, in the coming season. But it's done for them. We are all
any
blow pillar, it me find the flu. That's what the song goes, you know. So
any funny
just for this weekend,
just for this week.
just,
Is that your final
just for
comment? What's your final comments, Chris?
the blow pillar.
I think it's the same for me. Let's go, Bella. Give it horns there. Give it horns. Let's do it. And I think
Let's go,
Bok
pillar.
week, Bok week as well.
Hey,
That's major excitement.
yeah, book
It's
time, my
coming.
friends.
It's coming. Our favorite
Book
time.
time.
It's Christmas time. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. We're out.
We out.